Welcome to the Court of Public Opinion with Uncle German. This is the place where we put the biggest questions on trial, dissect the evidence, and deliver verdicts straight from the jury of you, the public. We are going to unpack real talk behind power, politics, and the people. I am German Tank, your solo guide through the crazy, dirty, messy, and fascinating world of politics and current affairs. Now, in our first episode today, we start by diving straight into the hottest question in the country currently. Why does a new government need to rush to hire its own loyalists after grabbing the reins of power? Is it cronyism or a democratic dispensation? Let's break it down with the 2024 election vibes in mind, global examples also, and why it matters for democracy. If you are into African politics or just curious about who pulls the strings, hit play and let's get right into it. The UDC has won a highly contested election in 2024, mainly on promises of creating jobs, fighting corruption, and authentic change. An authentic change since 2014. That was the main, biggest message of the campaign in 2014. Voters then didn't pick the UDC just to twiddle thumbs. They want action, they want delivery, and they want accountability. Now, hiring your own people or your own party loyalists, campaign warriors, people who knocked from door to door, house to house, and aligned experts, in key government positions ensures those policies actually happen without the sabotage from the old regime holdovers dragging their feet. Woodrow Wilson, the 28th president of the United States of America, who was also an academic, believed in the separation of politics from administration. Wilson's core idea was that politics involves policy making, and it is inherently partisan and divisive, whilst administration is actually the execution of those policies formulated by the political leadership and should be non-partisan and objective, right? He also believed that, a well-functioning government requires a professional, merit-based bureaucracy that can implement the will of the elected politicians or leadership efficiently. Critics of cronyism argue that cadre deployment or hiring of loyalists, it actually prioritizes loyalty over competence, leading to inefficiencies, corruption, and or mismanagement. On those who are for cadre deployment or who believe that hiring your own loyalists is actually a necessity. They claim that it ensures that government's agenda is implemented by trusted allies and it aligns public institutions with the electorate's mandate. It could be seen as a way of consolidating power for effective governance, especially in polarized and transitional democracies like in our case here. And back to our context, we know loyalty builds fortress. Appointing supporters rewards the grind. It rewards those who knocked on doors and those who raised funds and locks in a team, that won't leak top secrets or even plot coups against you. It stabilizes the ship in shaky transitions, like taking over power from a government that has had 58 years of uninterrupted rule. So the previous administration, for all we know, embedded cronies like ticks. We had ticks everywhere, every ministry, every department, every corner. We had ticks all over the place that were breeding corruption. So new hires from the new regime are expected to purge that, signaling the cleaning of the house. They say a new broom cleans better. I hope that's English. But anyway, the UDC is already auditing government departments and state-owned entities. something that has been going on for a couple of months now. I think this is a very smart move that honors, their anti-corruption campaign. It really pays homage to the message that they sold, because there's no how you can now fight corruption before knowing the root cause, before knowing what really went wrong. We can't say let's start fighting corruption from now going forward and not really learning from what was happening previously. So I would give kudos to shout out to UDC government, President Boko, and your government for that. But now, the main worry right now is how will government be cleaned up when it is currently lined up with, previous administration employees, especially, senior government officials in critical ministries for that matter. Given the historic inequalities and sidelining of some of, Botswana, for the simple reason that they were not subscribing to the then ruling party or were seen to be opposition activists. So many people were disadvantaged by the system because they didn't believe in it. And now, where are they? Where are those comrades? Are they not qualified? Why are we seeing the same faces who benefited unfairly from the previous regime continuing to run the show? I mean, there are people who risk their lives and livelihoods to see this change happen. Where are they in all this justification that, for keeping BDP cronies in government offices? We grew up hearing about BDP patronage. Make no mistake about that. And, the 2024 election results brought fresh air to us. It really felt like fresh air. And now, according to a political journal, replacing 20 to 30% of top officials boosts voter happiness and confidence rates. I bet we haven't even gotten to 5% yet in our case. Now, the biggest question we often get is: are there any qualified people in the current ruling party who can run government? Where do they get the experience to run government? Can they do it? The simple answer is yes. Many of the activists are highly qualified, highly skilled, even better than the ones that you see being kept in government currently. Some of them were actually top civil servants. And the argument here is not to bring people specifically from opposition party or former opposition parties, but it is to bring people who can take this country far or take this country somewhere, not those who've been holding it here. They brought us into this mess. How do we expect to get out of this mess if we keep those very same people? These are the people that Botswana don't want. These are the people that Botswana sent a strong message in October 2024 that we don't want these people. So we cannot be keeping them. Completely we can't. And I don't know why we still have it. We still have that. The democratic theory calls this responsive government. Elections mean reshaping the state to match the vote. Simple message to the rulers. Match the state composition according to, the vote. Voters wanted something. And this is why people go for proportional representation, because it makes the voices of the voters to be heard loud and clear. Now, my take is that, government should cap political peaks. It shouldn't be just an open tab. Just follow, the theoretical number. 20 to 30% seat critical. That 20 to 30% must be from very critical ministries, where the power lies, where the economy lies. I don't have to explain that to anyone. But we must also vet transparently. I know we do have some anti-corruption watchdogs and agencies in the country that are independent, so we can engage those for vetting of those political activists so that they can be put where they belong. This is renewal and not exclusion. And, new governments, not necessarily ours, they have to hire their own to execute plans, unite people, and heal from the past. It's key for our democracy, especially after flipping, the democratic script. It is political realism with a side of merit, of course. What's your take on this? Fair play or foul play? DM me on my social media platforms at GermanTech_BW across all platforms. Thank you for riding with me. Stay woke, stay informed, stay empowered.